So I mentioned just off the top before we went to break that it's hard to believe, but then again, when it doesn't get talked about or isn't in the news every day, perhaps we tend to forget. The largest nursing union in this province, the FIC, has now gone 500 days without being able to reach an agreement with this government provincially on a new collective agreement. It sounds incredible to say it, especially when you consider the mess that the healthcare system is in and how important, obviously, nurses are to it. What we do here is people leaving the system, people burning out. So why is the government sort of, dragging its feet on this one? Jenny Rhee is president of the MUHC Nursing and Cardiorespiratory Professionals Union. They're a FIC-affiliated union who are in these negotiations as well. Jenny, thanks for being here this afternoon. Is it fair to simply ask the question, because the government apparently doesn't seem, every time I see Sonia LaBelle speak about something like this, she's saying, no, there's no impasse here, but it's been over 500 days, so clearly there is. What is the issue, the big one here, do you think?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, Aaron. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Yes, it's actually 501 days as of today that we've been without a contract. And the government loves to portray us as the villains, and it could not be further from the truth. We are at a complete impasse right now because we can't seem to move past the issue of mobility and flexibility. The government has said to us, you need to come back, but that was a major factor it was the most important factor in why our members rejected the tentative agreement last spring.
So I've heard the minister use that term repeatedly, flexibility. That's what they want, flexibility. What does that mean practically?
What it means practically is that with Santé Quebec, now we all got our notices. They have to give us 4 months notice. It's coming into effect as of December the 1st of this year. And what it practically means is that under Santé Quebec, they're going to go through with what's called the notion of centers of activity. That is the basis on which we have our terms in our collective agreement. And what it means is that if the government decides to change centers of activity, and I can only give you an example. Right now, we're MUHC, and we have emergency rooms across the Montreal General, the Montreal Children's, and the Royal Vic, etc. If they decide to change the center of activity and make it Santé Quebec, they could merge, for example, all the emergencies across Montreal and make it one center. What they want from flexibility and mobility means that within 30 days, and within 25 kilometers of your home base of where you work or your home base of home, your home address, they want to be able to move people around. And our people are horrified at this prospect because the teams that we have developed, that we work with on a daily basis, we're not interchangeable. We're not peons that can just easily adapt to a new working environment and new colleagues and new doctors and new clients. It's very difficult to ask for that kind of change. Now, Aaron, if you'll permit me, today I spent the entire day going and walking around and speaking to our people. These negotiations belong to them. I want to know how they feel about this because the government is saying without that, we're not going to really have any kind of agreement. So our people are clear. You give us that, you tell us we have to move, they're out the door. It's that serious.
I'm trying, as I hear you say this, and again, I point out the serious situation we have with a shortage of nurses to begin with. This kind of sounds to me, in a sense, like what they do with PREMs, right? With medical students say, you want to practice, you have to go to this area. They're looking for that kind of thing to do with nurses as well. How does this get settled? If this has been the biggest stumbling block, Jenny, up until now, who has to bend first here?
Well, it's almost like a game of chicken, and I feel like the government is playing that with us. Who's going to blink first? Okay? We have offered them solutions. We have asked, for a national float team, pay these people more. We've given them all kinds of different options to maybe attract and retain people in the healthcare network. They're not really listening to us, and I think that with the laws that they're injecting, and as of October, on the island of Montreal, there will be no more agencies allowed to practice. I think they were counting on these agency nurses crawling back into the public sector. It's not happening. It's not happening. They're going to private or they're going to go do something else completely. So with the people that we have, they want this ability to move us around and to be more efficient in their eyes. But they're kind of making it sound as we're not being flexible on this factor. We're not willing to talk about anything because we're greedy. We're not greedy at all. It's the population's health that we have at our hearts. We are very concerned about our working conditions and what it means to the public in terms of safety if the government is allowed to continue this nonsense and their plan.
I don't know if there's an answer to the question I'm going to ask you, but how does this get settled? I mean, this has been going on, as you said now, 501 days. No one's moving. The government doesn't seem to be willing to give you what you're looking for, even though it seems pretty rational and something that I think most people would agree you shouldn't be subjected to. How does it get settled?
How does it get settled? Well, we're consulting our members. We're going to be meeting as a delegation in September, and we're going to have to take some serious decisions. The strike mandate is still there. We might go out again. Unfortunately, nobody wants to do it, but if that's what it takes us to, then that's what is going to happen. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have much of a choice. The government will not speak to us unless we get they have some kind of openness to flexibility, mobility, and our people are just not there. Just by my walking around and talking to people today, they're flat out refusing. They said they would rather resign than be moved to another hospital. It's that's really making me very concerned about the future. How do we settle this? I think the government and the FIC, we have to come together and we have to find solutions. And the solutions are on the table, Aaron. We have said offer more money for the areas that have the problem staffing.
Right.
But I'll just give you an example. A friend of mine has applied to go work in an area that's considered a remote area. They're having trouble staffing. He applied 2 months ago. He's still waiting for the paperwork. Tell me how efficient this government is in getting this done. I'm very discouraged by the state of our negotiations right now. I think we can both do better, but our people are clear. The rejection of the mobility, it was there in April. It still exists today.
I wish you good luck, and I think all the people hearing you describe the situation, beyond just how outrageous it is that nurses are being affected this way, and then you describe a situation of someone actually wanting to go out there, and just how inefficient the system is. Even when people want to do something like that, it's mind-boggling in the worst possible way.
Absolutely.
Jenny,
thank you.
Yeah, I thank you so much for the time, and I hope we can speak again later, but most importantly, I hope this thing comes to a conclusion and you get what you want, because we need you back.
Much appreciated.
Thanks
Thank
so
you,
much.
Aaron, for
You bet.
having me. Thank you.